Yeah, and honestly, I think the reason we're here and the reason we're still watching things happen the way they're happening is because we didn't really handle business the first time.
100%.
Sorry,
We
not sorry, but that's just, sometimes the truth hurts. And, maybe this is what it was going to take this, because even in the so-called truther community, um, we've had, I think, too many sleepies still. People that they say they're awake, but they're not really awake. I've shown this before and I've talked about it before. I'm not going to pull it up today, but there's different levels of awakening. And the first one, is you leave, and when I pull it up, it shows the layers of boxes. The blue box is in the middle, and then outside of that is the red box. So you take the red pill, you leave the blue box, go into the red box, and then once you're red pilled, then you realize, oh wait, I'm still in another box. And then you get green pilled, which takes you out into the more spiritual community, right? And then you realize you're still in a box, and then a lot of times people lose hope there, and then so they take the black pill, and then they end up in the black box, and they just stop there. But there's actually two more pills outside the black box, because some people actually will, after they get black pilled, realize, well, wait a minute, that don't make any sense either. This ain't helping me or anybody else. So then they take the white pill, and then they think that that's it, and that they're good to go. Ultimately, you need to get to the clear pill. The clear pill is the outside of the outside. There are no more boxes, and you realize who you really are. You're truly sovereign. You don't need any tricks or gimmicks. You don't need to follow any gurus. That you don't need to write your name in funny hieroglyphs or squiggly lines or colons and become a colon master. Like, none of that stuff applies. You are a man or a woman created in the exact likeness and image of God. You are naturally born sovereign and free, and everything that holds you back has been foisted upon you and programmed into you, and the only thing that keeps you there is you.
Well said. Ethan Lucas, that was wonderful. We're done for today. Have a nice day.
Okay, all right. Thanks, guys. That's all we need to say. That was the emergency broadcast.
That's it. See you later, guys.
I mean, ultimately, that's it encapsulated.
It really is.
But that it's
No,
but we need to talk about the details of it now before we get into stuff. And I don't want to spin our wheels and go around circles and waste a lot of time. I do want to make this sort of a little mini series, because there are a lot of important things to cover, and it's going to coincide with your upcoming tour, and I'm going to be on several stops on that as well, making an appearance. And I feel like if by the end of this tour, if we don't have this right and we don't have the momentum together, we're unfortunately going to be looking at a very dire situation. I don't think the election's going to happen. Could I be wrong? Sure. But I don't think it is. And who knows what's going to happen after that. But again, I've been saying it over and over and over recently. It's kind of becoming a hashtag now, J60 million. If J6 would have been J60 million instead of J6 1 million, there was 1 million. You were there, 1 million people, right? Roughly.
Yeah, I think more than 1 million people, but yeah, definitely.
But even if it would, I've heard upwards of 2 million as a guess. But even if we split the difference and say 1.5 million, that's not enough. In my honest opinion about all of this, and again, take it with a grain of salt if you want, but I think it just goes back to common sense and just reviewing and considering everything our founding fathers said. And this is only a fraction of, along with the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, only a fraction of the writings of our founding fathers. Will be going over a lot of that stuff. They had the plan from the beginning. The Q plan is no different. It's exactly the same. And I think that the reason Trump was waiting so long to come on video that day and say, all right, guys, let's wrap it up, go home peacefully, because they were waiting to see if we, the people, were actually going to do our part, and we fell miserably short. That's my honest opinion about it. Now, I think it would have been a lot different had we showed up, even 10 million strong. I don't think it necessarily has to be 60 million. I'm saying that just kind of a play on words, right? But we show up 10 million strong, it's over with instantly. And there doesn't need to be violence.
Well, so here's a couple of things. I have a couple of notes here. Number one, I believe he got about 100 million votes, not 80 or anything, because they were not only were taking votes away from Trump. So Correct. If you got 100 million votes, that's telling you that 2% of the nation knew how dire this is. Maybe 2%. Let's go with your number. 1.5% of the voters actually showed up in support of this repeat administration. Now, the reason why I say repeat administration, and I think this is very, very important, there was a lot of outcry of why didn't Trump do martial law? Why didn't he send in the military? We have it all. What if, and this is where people are going to get a little bit upset, but I don't give a damn at this point. What if he didn't, because of the apathy in the nation, because we the people weren't standing up the way we were needing to be. So what if they're like, this is plan B that we're working on, not plan A. Plan A could absolutely have been if the people show the support, they show that they're just not waiting for me to ride in on a white horse, because he handed it. President Trump said, here, I'm giving it back to we the people. The problem is we the people did not take it and run with it.
Correct.
So now they go to plan B, and plan B is, oh my God, we got to wake up the masses. We have to acclimate them. They have to feel the pain. Now I believe we're going to go through a financial crash. And yes,
and it's going to hurt. Plan B was always going to hurt. Trump knew that. I don't think he wanted to do this. I really honestly think that Trump and the Q team and those who are on our side in the military really expected more than 1 to 2 million people to show up on that day. And since it didn't happen, they're like, okay, we don't have a choice. We're not going to go into this half-cocked because they didn't learn their lesson the first time. We need to learn from this. That's the whole point of this. Q says it's biblical all the time for a reason. There's a lot of reasons, but that's one of them.
Yeah, just so I'm getting messages from several people on the live. Rumble's suppressing us right now. Tons of people are getting kicked off of Rumble. They have been for the last 5 minutes. Just so you know, I've got about a third of the live viewers that I normally have. They don't like this conversation, clearly, but we're going to have it because it's necessary.
Well, and it's going live on my Rumble right now as well. I'm going to have it permanent one up on ethanlucas.com, which is in the private. They can't control that or stop that. You'll keep it up on yours as well, so people will be able to watch the replay. Guys, just share the hell out of it. That's the answer to this. That's actually, this is a good lesson to learn right in the middle. This is good live training right here. Share the hell out of it. How many people so far, Lewis, have joined RememberYourOath.com?
Yeah, not enough. Not enough.
That's my point.
In fact, here's the problem. Yeah, I've got probably, I'd say reasonably, one of, if not the most active audiences there are, but less than 1% actually take action. And I understand we've been MK Ultra'd and conditioned to do this, but we have to understand, this is what I don't get. President Trump said several times that they've done the work and they're handing it over to we the people, right?
Yep.
But if somebody hands you a gift that's wrapped up and you never opened it, you can't use the gift, right? Nope. So the reality is, what are you waiting for? And now I'm sick of people saying, but Lewis, just tell us what to do. Really?
How many tours have we done telling people what to do? How many shows have we done telling people what to do?
If by minimum, I would like to know how many people have walked into a school board. You don't have to have any kids in the school board and just voiced your opinion. I bet you less than 1% have, right? So we haven't earned it. And that's a really, really sad part about this whole thing. And that's why I think this could have been over in 2020. Now, I've been telling people since, so almost 5 years now. I've said this over and over. I said, God already won, but we, the people, need to do the work in order to reap the harvest. So in essence, to summarize that just means that the people are in control of the timeline.
Correct.
So we have to get to work. Why do people not want to get to work? And why do they don't understand what work really is when I've laid it out 100 times on how simple it is? Even start a prayer group and start manifesting. You don't even have to get off your couch to do that, right? But we have to do the work. And I believe the gray hats, as you know, I call them, have been doing gray hats. They've done the work, but they can only do so much. And what's the ramifications if you have two sets of bad guys out there fighting each other? I mean,
well, and that's what we've been enduring, honestly, and obviously. It should be obvious anyway. And if we don't step up and self-govern, somebody else will govern you. I really hate this. I feel like this statement, freedom is not free, has been ingrained in people's heads in a way for so long to make them think that that means the military's supposed to fight for you and make you free. That's not what it means. Self-governance, self-governance, self-governance. That means you have to stand up for yourself, and you have to be willing to take any flack that comes your way. And again, it gets a lot easier the more we have. That's why we're struggling here. We're on the struggle bus because we don't have enough people. As soon as we get enough people, we all act in unison. Bam, like that. It's over with in 1 second. It's done.
Yep.
Self-governance.
Literally within a day, the whole thing's done. Because
Yep.
there's so many examples of them not handling pressure. And just so you know, Ethan, Rumble is completely down. It's been Rumble has crashed completely. So whatever's going on here, guys, it'll go up, it'll be re-recorded, whatever.
It's crashed completely.
Completely crashed.
Hang on. Did we crash Rumble, Lewis? Are we that important?
Yes, I think we are that important.
Oh my God, I just refreshed my Rumble screen and you're right, it's blank. There's nothing there.
It is gonzo.
We just crashed Rumble. Well, we're gonna keep doing the show, and then the replay will go back.
On TV. Oh, are you still watching it though? Okay, cool. So there's a couple of people watching still on different devices.
Okay, well, whatever. It'll get shared later. It'll go viral later. It's all good. Okay, let's do this because we got, let's make sure we get this out, and nothing's gonna stop us from recording this and doing it.
This is about We the People. Look at this really cool cup.
There you go.
My friend Tom gave me. We the People, right there. We are the plan.
We the people are the plan. We've always been the plan. All right, let's do this. I think I've got you up on the screen. Yeah, there we go. I wasn't sure if I had it set right or not. Okay, here's where we're going to start. And you can track with me, Lewis. Interject anytime you need to because there's a lot to cover, and I want to try to keep this as close to a mini series as we can. But I think this is probably the most important show, at least right now, that you can watch. The most important pieces of information collectively that you can utilize right now. This is the mass wake up call. Again, I'm sick and tired of watching, like you said, Lewis, all these people with these huge followings that have just Pied Pipered people, lulled them to sleep. They're literally a Pied Piper, and it's completely selfish. It's so they can get their clicks and they can make their money and they can get internet famous. And meanwhile, Rome burns, so to speak. America's burning down, and we, the people, have always been the biggest part of the plan, and we're not doing our part. Let's just go through. You don't believe me? Let's go through the Q drops, because I'm tired of people also saying, well, Q is a psyop. Yeah, it was a psyop. It was a psyop to wake everybody up. That part worked, okay? That part worked. But the part that hasn't apparently worked yet is the part where people didn't actually want to read what it said. This is what happens with the Bible all the time. How many times have I said it? Read what it actually says instead of what they say that it says.
Thank you.
You're following these Q-tard Pied Piper people that are clickbait, patriot mythology assholes that are just making money off of you, wasting time. And they are, shame on you guys, for real. You guys are one of the biggest reasons why we don't have a collective, united group right now to stand up to this shit, because you're sitting around telling the people they ain't got to do nothing. Just trust the plan when you don't even know what the plan is. Q even said it. I'll show you the drop where it says very few people actually know the plan. And Q's watching. They're watching this right now. And so it's like, you can't say that it wasn't told to you. You didn't pay attention. You didn't actually look and read what Q said. You listened to assholes for their own self-aggrandizement, their own self-gain. Just say whatever they wanted because it was clickbait shit that got people to follow, and it was tickling the ears of the congregation, so to speak, as the Bible calls it. It's exactly why we are where we are. And yeah, I'm pissed the fuck off. And there's coming a day and time, you just out of respect, and I'm going to give it a little bit of time. But I think after Election Day in November, regardless of what happens, I'm going to start calling people out hardcore by name. And I'm going to start exposing the stuff that you've been doing and not doing. Because now it's hurting me. It's hurting my family. It's hurting you. It's hurting your family. And it's getting real. Do you agree with that, Lewis?
Well, yeah. And you and I talked about this. My target date is after this election, whether it happens or not. And the reason why is because I spent the last 4 years giving markers so people can figure this stuff out on their own, yet they still come to me. Just tell us the name. Please just tell me who's controlled opposition, who's this, who's that. But I gave them so many markers out there that people should be able to figure this stuff out on their own, right? So it will get to a point where I'm just going to call out names. I'm hoping that I have enough faith in we the people that we're going to start figuring this stuff out and really, really know this is not about what somebody tells you. Don't take what Ethan or Lewis takes you at face value. Double check us.
Yep.
In fact, I appreciate being questioned. I appreciate being told that I was wrong in a situation. I appreciate the debate. This is why I tell you, right now I support President Trump, and I have for years. But I'm the first person after he's back in office and go, okay, now all these questions are going to go, and we need to hold them accountable, because if we're really going to give this back to we the people need to take the ball and run with it. We failed to do that 4 years ago.
Yep.
In my opinion, I believe we've been given by God another opportunity to do that. But wow, what's it going to take? And you know what I believe what it's going to take? I'm sorry. It's going to take a financial crash, a massive financial crash, because when people see it in their real estate and their bank accounts and they can't afford anything, at that moment, they're going to go, okay, now I got to do something about it. It's certainly because their selfishness button goes, okay, yeah, well, I'll do it now that it affects me directly. Now, in their defense, they've been MK Ultra and conditioned like this for over 50 years. I get it.
Yep.
But we have enough information that we should be able to pass that. We should be doing it for humanity. We should be doing it for the children and the children's children and all the generations to come. We should have been doing that years ago. So stop waiting until the financial crash, until, oh, it actually hurts me and my family now? Okay, so now I'll do something about it. No.
That's very selfish, by the way.
Exactly. And that's the problem. We are the greatest psyop, one of the greatest psyops there is that America is free. Okay. Well, they positioned America as the beacon on the hill, the place to aspire to. I love America. But I love the principles of America pre-1871 Constitution.
Yep.
That's the America I love. I love the idea of America. I absolutely love the law and order that we constructed pre-1871. All of that, fantastic. What we don't realize, though, is post-1871, with the whole forming of the corporation, they've created two Americas. And you and I have talked about this. So this is a parallel. We have two Americas. You have your corporate America and your common law America. The challenges, and actually one's the United States and one's the United States of America, to be exact.
Yeah.
So the challenge is, with this parallel, we sell this idea of freedom when we're not free. We've got the worst food in the world here, the most poisonous food, the most people on pharmaceuticals per capita in the whole world. We have one of the worst education systems in the whole world, but we're told that all three of those things are the best. The worst education system when it comes to colleges, it's all indoctrination. They don't do that in every single other country. So it's the absolute worst, but we're told it's the best. So we are the beacon on the hill that attracts everybody. But what do they do? What do they do for us? Oh my God, the bread and the circus is absolutely incredible, isn't it? Oh, best sports, best movies, best things on our phone, all the apps that you can use. Oh, it's just amazing. I'm sorry. We have to start taking accountability. This corporate country that we're dealing with needs than any other country.
100%.
And we need to take ownership of that. And you can support the military, as I do. I have 3 kids in the military, That doesn't mean you have to support the fake ideology that we're being sold.
And for all you brainwashed attorneys and judges out there who say that, oh, this idea that the United States is a corporation, that's a okay. Here's from Cornell Law School. One of the most prestigious law schools in America, right here. What is this? This is 28 U.S. Code, Section 3002, definitions. What is the definition of United States? Here you go. United States means a federal corporation. Ding, 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 ding. Tell him what he's won, Bob.
He's won a tinfoil hat.
I mean, all right, that could be a whole nother show. I need to get back on track here today with this, because this, like, I'm not even kidding when I say this is direly important. People need to understand once and for all time what Q really is and what it is not. Q is not a plan to come wipe your ass for you. Q is a plan to wake you up and make you understand that we, the people, have always been the plan. Now, are there operatives, intelligence operatives, that are helping Trump work on things? Absolutely. But number one, the POTUS, the commander-in-chief, the military, they don't even have the legal authority to do half of the garbage that these Q-tard people and Patriot Mythology people have been saying they do. They don't even have the authority or ability to do it. Go read the Constitution and read what the Constitution says is the job and the duty that the president's allowed to do, and then read the part of all of the founding documents. The founding fathers said over and over and over and over and over. Even the Constitution, the Bill of Rights says it, that anything that's not specifically mentioned in the Constitution is reserved to the people in the states. The military and Trump Trump as president, as commander in chief, they are employees of we the people. They work for us. Their power is limited, and thank God for that, because if it wasn't, we already would have fell into a one world dictatorial communist whatever long time ago, right? So quit even thinking that, because that's not even real. Were you gonna say something?
Well, I do think it's a little bit of both, not to be contradictory, but I do believe that the gray hats are using the corporate law structure with the executive orders and all the stuff that are on the corporate law books, War Powers Act, so on and so forth, to do work in the background. Clearly, they wouldn't have built out Guantanamo Bay if there weren't people going to Guantanamo
Correct.
Bay.
But there's limitations to what they can do, and they can only do it by consent of the people.
Right, because if they really had full control, would they not already have everybody on the border?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
they clearly would, right? And I talk to people there. I always hear these people coming over the border, and I try to tell them, I go, it's a diversion. You have the fighting age males coming over the border, and everybody talks about that. But do you know what's going under the border? But nobody talks about that. So isn't that an interesting diversion that we're always talking about on top of the border when the serious stuff is happening under the border?
Yep. So here's what I'm talking about. Let's start with this. Q drops. Let's hear it straight from the horse's mouth. What has Q said? And we got, about half an hour to an hour max. So I think we should be able to cover it, because I've pulled up specifically about 10 to 12 or so Q drops that I want people to take a serious look at. And then there's some select writings from the founding fathers that I want to take a look at.
Before you get into it, let me just say this, because a lot of people are probably, you wouldn't know it because our Rumble's back up, but our chat is shut down, of course.
Of course it is.
But yes, Ethan and I are angry. Yes, we're frustrated, because we could have been done with this years ago if we, the people, would all just step up. And literally, I think 5% have to step up. I've run the numbers. Actually, per city, if 1/10 of 1% of the people stepped up and went to a board meeting, you would be done. That's 1 out of 1,000. The problem is we don't even have 1 out of 10,000 doing that at the moment. So don't let our anger and frustration make you angry at us. Just understand it, because you may be doing your job, but it's a wake-up call, so people understand that we need to take accountability and responsibility for what's going on. And that is what the crux of this message is, because we do control the timeline. Do you want this to go another 4 years, another 8 years, another 12, 16? I'm sorry. After Trump um, was reelected, which we know, but they showed him that he was not in 2020. I heard so many people, I can't last 3 months. I can't last 6 months. This is all over. Well, we're already 4 years down the road, guys. So you can probably last another 8 to 12 to 20 years. But the question is, do you want to? Or do you want to take accountability and get this done?
Yeah, I don't think you want to, because Agenda 2030 is definitely real.
Yep.
You showed me yesterday when we were talking, you showed me on the phone. Do you still have it on your phone?
Yeah, let me bring that up. I could not believe that.
No,
So
I can believe it. It's very real. And ultimately, guys, like this isn't hard to figure out. At the end of the day, just follow the money. They do it mostly for money. They do it also for power, because power gives you money. But at the end of the day, it's always mostly for money.
So this is actually, if you can look in on the window of this train in Spain, it says, it's not focusing, but it says Agenda 2030 right there. They're literally in your face. There it is, advertising what they're going to do.
Yeah, they want to
So,
sell it to you like it's a good idea, so you go along with it.
yep. Sorry. If you don't think that's real, is that just another conspiracy theory? Well, the deep state's telling you right there what's going on.
Well, I mean, how many times have we seen? Okay, so that rainbow ring that
Yep.
you see, how many times have you seen it on the lapel of the suits of the
That's
likes of
right.
Klaus Schwab and all the others of the World Economic Forum?
I wonder if people understand that means New World Order.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
So I want. Oh, yeah. So that's very interesting.
Um, okay, so let's look at these Q drops. This is what I want to explain to people. So for all of you, I call them airplane screenshot people. The people with the airplane trackers posting stuff saying, "Well, there's a military airplane. That means that Trump's in the military's in control." Doesn't mean nothing. First of all, none of this stuff is going to be on a airplane tracker. Everything that's top secret is top secret. Again, I've told people a bazillion times. I come from a military family through multiple wars. I come from a federal family of people who actually were security clearance officers, did background investigations and security checks to actually approve or disapprove top secret security clearance, NATO security clearance, SCI security clearance, worked with all the top echelons of generals and executive level positions in governments overseas. I know how this stuff works. So don't let these people bamboozle you and tell you that because you see a picture of an airplane on a tracker on a screen, that means something that they spun out of thin air because they want to get internet famous and they want want you to follow them.
So military planes have two main tracking devices on them. They have the public pinger. That's what you're seeing on those, right? That generally means a training operation or an operation that's not important. They don't care if people see about it. And then they have a private pinger that they will never produce on those apps. And those are trackable with inside the military construct. So
Yep.
when we see that, yes, there could be planes flying to Gitmo. There are always planes flying to Gitmo. I would suggest to you that most of the stuff you see on those apps are not the top secret stuff,
No.
because
And a lot of it could be decoys too.
yeah, and they'll turn their pingers off for that, right? You won't even have it on there for that situation. So
Yeah.
it's I think it's interesting. It comes down to the same thing, Ethan, though. It's part of this is true, but not all of it's true. Not all of it's bad, not all of it's good. It's probably somewhere in the middle. But until our awareness factor gets up and our discernment where we can say, it doesn't make sense that military operations they'd be making public right now.
Right.
You go, okay, I get it. Right. I get it.
Well, and here's the other interesting thing too. So all the stuff with the Russian, let's sidetrack this just for a second, because there's a couple things I want to bring up with that real quick before we get into the Q drops. We all know about the Russian warships in Cuba and all this. This is actually, I think, probably standard military stuff. They've done it before. This is not new. It's just making headlines now. This is part of whatever. I don't know. Could it be something to really be concerned about? Sure. but maybe not. Maybe they're spending it in a way where it's just scaring a lot of people because they know they can. Because they're trying. Here's the ultimate thing. As long as you're scared, you're not going to do anything. You're like a deer in headlights. So they're going to keep the media flowing with all this fear porn, as we call it, so that you don't get off your ass and go J60 million DC. That's the only thing they fear right there is you. And as long as they can keep you worried about Russian warships and Cuba, and it's interesting too because that's where Gitmo is. So is there something to that? I don't know. Whatever, but does it matter? Because at the end of the day, none of it matters. Let the military do their job. Let Trump do his job. Why don't we start doing our job? And by the way, all these people spinning, wait, yeah, but Trump said all the executive orders and none of them been rescinded and all that. I've read through Trump's executive orders, all this stuff. There is nothing in these executive orders that indicates that the white hats are in control and that there's anything special about this. That's why they haven't been rescinded, because they're of no fucking consequence. Manual. They're throwing out all these sections and codes, blah, blah, blah. They rattle them off, and then people are like, ooh, ooh, squirrel, ooh, squirrel. It's like, ooh, shiny lights glitter. That must mean it's official. No, it's not. Go read it. I read it. It's a big nothing burger. Big nothing burger. Okay, that's point number one. Let's see, that's the Tennessee Constitution. I was talking about that the other day. Where am I at here? I've got some of this stuff. Okay, that's the letters from the Founding Fathers. Just checking through. Okay. Yeah. I'll get to that probably even in the next one. I want to go to the Q drops. But my point is, it's usually the airplane screenshot people that are pitching all of this stuff about how these executive orders by Trump have not been rescinded. This is a mission, undercover secret mission of the military and the president. And, it's none of us can know what's going on. Bitch, you work for us. The president and the military works for us. What do you mean we can't know what's going on? Go read the Constitution. It's illegal for the military and the president to do anything in secrecy. Like all this top secret stuff included, that's all actually unconstitutional. They're not allowed to do anything in secret. They work for us. They can't keep it secret from the people.
So here's where I think you and I come at an impasse, because I believe we're working in a parallel government right now, in my opinion. So I don't believe that the Secretary of State that you see has very much authority whatsoever. Some in case in point, when Biden travels around, he's got 3 cars and 8 people with him. When Trump travels around, right, he's got 24 cars. He's got a missile battery. He has a guide him, because they would not let this guy run around like a buffoon.
Here's your answer right here. Parallel society. We've talked about it a million times. One's a corporation. Biden's the president of the corporation, and Trump, even though it may not be official, I think you are watching an internal war, an internal battle with the military. But the reason why it can't go any further, besides them just sorting that out on their own, is because we, the people, are sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. Because ultimately, we, the people, are the boss of the commander-in-chief, the boss of the president, and the boss of the military.
Yeah. So in essence, they're not physically going to take orders from you, but what they do is they act based on the way the masses react. So if the masses
don't react.
So if the masses are going out there, and the micro fixes the macro, if the masses are going out into their communities and doing work and getting together, and militias are being formed, legal militias are being formed, then they will even do more work. And I've been saying this for 4 years now. I go, guys, the reason why it hasn't happened faster has nothing to do with these so-called white hats in the background. It has everything to do with we, the people, in the foreground.
Yep.
I believe people are starting to get it, but man, it is so slow and methodical. And you know why I think I'm right? And this is not ego talking, right? This is because I can't get a message out on X that gets any traction, yet an account that has 1/25 of the followers I have completely copies my information, puts it out, and gets more impressions than I. We can't even get a video out in the last 2 days on TikTok. They won't even post our videos on TikTok. I don't know what account we're on right now. YouTube is giving me bans for things that I didn't a year ago that I'm not, I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. There's things I can't even post on True Social, by the way. Yes, it's true. Can't post anything on Kazarian Muff, yet
I've
they
been
don't even.
censored on Truth Social.
Right. So we have to be aware of this stuff. So what we're saying probably has a lot of credibility, but you know what can get out there? All the hopium in the world and all the fear porn in the world.
Yep.
Why is that? Because it creates division, and division and fear is their fuel.
Yep.
So there's a lot of credibility to what's being said here. I just hope people start paying attention to this, because it is up to us. If it is to be, it's up to me. God gave us all the gifts. We just have to say, you know what? We want to take ownership now. We want to take ownership of what our kids and our children and the generations to come have to deal with. It's up to us.
Yep. Well, and again, thank God that the commander in chief, the president, don't actually have the authority that I've heard a lot of these patriot mythology and Q-tard people saying. Thank God they don't have that authority. Because again, it already would have been over. So guys, it's time to start looking at reality and taking this serious. Start taking it serious. Because this is serious, and it's getting serious. And the longer we wait, the longer this goes on, the bigger and the harder it's going to get. Again, we're past the point of doing it the hard way. We could have done it the hard way in 2020. Now we have to do it the harder way. I hope to God we finally sack up and do it the harder way, because the only option after that, if it goes on too long and they pull off Agenda 2030, because again, Trump and the military can't govern. They can't help us self-govern. It's called self-governance for a reason. And if they are really good guys, they're going to follow the law. There's a lot of things they can't do to help us. We have to do it. And that's what they're asking us to do. They've been asking us the whole time. So hopefully it doesn't get to the hardest way, because if it does, I've already told people, I'm out. I'm not sticking around for it. I'll stick around right now for one last hoorah to stand up in unison and do what we are, not only have the right, but the duty to do. To take back our republic, to stand up in unison in numbers and do it peacefully. And even if there's a little bit of a scuffle in there, it's not going to be much. But I'm not sticking around for Agenda 2030, because if it falls that way, y'all can stick in here, because I promise you, they will have finished building the wall by then. But then the wall won't be used to keep the people out that you want kept out. It'll be used to keep you in. And I'm not sticking around for that.
Yeah, no, and you know what? So there's three major clues in my opinion of the way that we have to get this done. President Trump has often said we have to do this legally and lawfully. Legally is in the corporate realm, lawfully is in the common law realm. Okay.
Yep.
Only we the people can do that. He's also said, I've handed it back to we the people. That's number two. Therefore, we the people have to do the work. And thirdly, where's all the momentum now, guys? It's in the states. It's not on the federal level. So the laws are being changed within the states. That's where it's supposed to be under a constitutional republic. It's going to take a little bit longer to do that, but that's where the people need to get activated. So think about that. He says legally and lawfully, we the people, give the power back to the states. That's the formula. It's literally that simple. That's the formula for us to win.
100%. All right, let's do this, because I keep bouncing back and forth and we keep getting sidetracked from it. But
we're going to do multiple of these episodes.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I'm letting it flow the way it needs to. But I do want to get to these at least some of them. Even if we don't get through all of them, I want to get through some of these Q drops, because I want to drive home the point. Because really, what started all of this at the beginning of at the beginning of all of it, you go back to 2017. You know, it's like Trump was in office. Everyone was like, cool. I think the whole patriot community, all the truthers, it's like they started to relax probably too much. They breathed a sigh of relief. Like, we got our guy in there, and we're probably going to get him in there next time too, right? That's why Q stepped in, I believe, because they knew better. They knew that this wasn't over. It wasn't going to continue to be good. There's a lot of fixing we need to do. And so thus started the Q drops. And that's ultimately what it was about, was waking up enough people to understand that we are the plan. We've always been the plan. We the people. And that's not what anybody wants to hear. Because again, everybody wants to hear, oh, somebody's coming to save me. Somebody's coming to do it for me. I ain't got to do nothing, right? How was this nation founded? I
Yeah.
guarantee you there was a bunch of people. The overwhelming majority of the colonists were sitting around probably saying the same thing. Somebody's going to come save us, right? Before 1776, someone's going to come. And finally they realized it was hard. I mean, look at some of the last battles. George Washington had to really encourage these people to step up and fight because the British were about to win. And ultimately, I think the British did end up winning, at least somewhere around by 1871, like what you're talking about, right? So we might have won in the short term, but they won in the long term, and that's why we're going through this now. But ultimately, we the people have always been the plan. What's that?
The same with a very similar Operation Paperclip after World War II.
Yeah.
Where the Nazis, because our mafia infiltrated our government. So, Ethan, I heard a turn of a phrase that I think really is applicable. You've heard the phrase "blood is thicker than water," right?
Right.
The phrase said, "We've had it all wrong."
Just ask Hillary Clinton; she knows.
Yeah, the water is the amniotic fluid inside of the mom's belly.
Yeah.
Blood is standing by your fellow patriots and bleeding to get something done.
Yep.
That's what blood is thicker than water is. And that resonates with me a lot, because I can tell you I'm a lot closer to people fighting shoulder to shoulder with me than I am with many of my family members.
Well, and think about this too with Jesus. The emphasis is put, even though there's an importance to the virgin birth in the Bible, that's the water you're talking about. There's an importance on the water with the baptism, but there's always the next thing, the greater thing, the blood, the fire, right? Baptism with fire is greater than baptism by water. The importance was on the crucifixion, and a lot of this stuff is symbolic, but it's always the blood is thicker than the water. The blood is always the most important thing. The blood is where the compact is. That's where the real constitution of everything is. That's where the real covenant is in the blood. And that's why it was always talked about. And I think that, well, we've lost sight of a lot of things, but that's without getting too sidetracked and again, getting back to these Q drops. That's where we really have to understand this. And I think Q really was trying to draw together brother and brother, sister and sister, brother and sister. And that doesn't mean by birth relation.
Exactly.
That means by brotherhood relation, sisterhood relation. I mean, look, the cabal's been doing it forever. Their secret societies and their lodges and all the secret handshake people, they consider that blood. Those are blood compacts they make with each other at the highest levels. And they consider that more sacred than their own genealogical family.
It's true.
And there's a reason for that. And I think in a lot of ways, Q was trying to rekindle that fire within us with all these drops. And there was a lot of stuff dropped. I mean, they are intelligence drops. There's a lot of stuff that was said. So much of it was misunderstood. Same thing with the Bible. The disciples didn't even understand half of what Jesus said by the time he was on the cross. They still didn't understand it. There was infighting in the ecclesia amongst the apostles and the disciples and all the new Christians about what Jesus actually said. There still wasn't clarity at that point. Again, that was a Q movement. This is another Q. It's following the same patterns. So what I'm trying to do is get people to learn from the history, learn from the previous Q movements, and recognize the patterns, the map, as Q calls it. The universal Q map, as I call it in my book, The Jesus Q Connection. And understand there's something very deep and important that was missed by so many people, and we allowed the Pied Pipers, the Patriot Mythology people, the Q-tard people, the clickbait people to just pull us in and lead us astray. We can't afford that anymore. We got to take action. Look at this collection of Q drops. I just went on qalerts.app and I typed in up at the top here, "Are you ready?" Hit search. Are you ready? What comes up? Drop 4959. Are you ready to take back control? Doesn't say, are you ready for us to take back control? It says, are you ready to take back control? Drop 4956. Are you ready to serve your country again? Remember your oath.com. uh, drop 4946. Are you ready to take back control of this country? Well, it is a company. There's the corporate side and there's the Republic side. Are you ready to take back control of this country? Not, are you ready for us to take back control? Are you ready to take control? Drop 4945. Are you ready to hold the political elite and protect it accountable? Are you ready to do? Who's he talking? Who are they talking to? We the people.
Of course.
Drop 4607. Are you ready to serve once again? You got to serve. You got to serve. You got to do something. And my favorite one, drop 4944. And this is the one I always throw out there for all the Q-tard people, all the Patriot Mythology people, all the airplane screenshot people, and they never have an answer. Because there is no good answer from their perspective, from their Pied Piper operation, from their selfish operation. Are you ready to finish what we started? Drop 4944. Are you ready to finish what we started? And they didn't stutter.
That's the drop that got me to figure out that trust the plan was for the people.
Exactly. Well, and let me show you. Because, well, and one quick thing, because everyone wants to read the second line of that drop, 4944. Nothing can stop what's coming is not just a catchphrase. See, then nothing can stop what's coming. Yeah, you're right.
We are coming.
You're right. No matter what happens, whether you come or don't come, nothing can stop what's about to happen. What's about to happen is always about to happen. This is like the most basic bitch statement you can ever make. There's nothing encoded or deep or like rah, go team where, they're riding in on a white horse to save us. None of that. You didn't read the line before it. Are you ready to finish what we started? There's a distinction between you and we. Are you ready to finish what we started? Right? Okay, let's look at this. Now, I did screenshots on my phone to make it bigger so it's even easier to see. Some of them I'm pulling up on qalerts.app, but these I did screenshots. This one is actually from drop 1425. Be aware of false prophets. Oh, my God. Can y'all see now? Future proves past, right? Can y'all see what's been happening? Q is very aware of all the Q-tards and the Patriot Mythology people. They're very aware of the airplane screenshot people. Beware of false prophets. What did Q say? I'm not a prophet. What does that mean? We can't predict what's about to happen. Why? Because most of it's up to we the people. Next line. You are not a prophet. We are not prophets. They're saying Q is not prophet. We can't predict what's going to happen. We don't know. We're holding up a collapsing bridge, hoping we the people, hoping that the people will go across the bridge so that we will finish what Q started. That's what Q's telling you here. Focus on the mission. Why would Q tell you to focus on the mission if we didn't have something to do?
Absolutely.
If you're just supposed to sit back and trust the plan. What plan? Ethan, whose plan?
Ethan, you're reading it yourself, though.
My God.
You're not letting somebody feed you some fraud.
Yeah, my bad. I didn't let the pastor of the Q-tard church read this to us.
Right. Then, it's funny. I was just gonna say that. Two things. Number one, I believe, if I'm right, the last time Q even said trust the plan was September 18th, 2018. I could be wrong.
Actually, I did look that up. That's not correct. And I'm not saying I hate to bust your chops live, but it's actually not correct.
What's the date?
Where is it at? Where did I have it? We'll get to it in a minute. Anyway, say what you were going to say, because we're going to get to it. It's in one of these drops. I don't want to go out of order here.
So what's very important, though, and I want to defer to you on this, is does the Bible not tell the people that the people are accountable for learning, discerning, and taking action?
Yes. Rightly divide the word of truth. That's what the Bible says.
Where do most people learn from? They learn from the guy standing in the front
behind
of the
a
room.
pulpit.
Isn't that the same with the Q people that are translating for you?
It's another damn cult. They left the frying pan and went into the fire.
That's right. And this is what I'm saying. This is the same thing is they idolized certain rock stars and Hollywood types. They found out that those are bad people, and now they idolize Patriot Mythology.
Yeah. All you did, you traded in one false prophet for another. That's all you did. Just traded one false prophet for another. Beware,
Exactly right.
be aware of false prophets. They're out there. Notice it didn't say beware. It said be aware. To be aware means they are there.
Yep.
Be aware that they are there. Focus on the mission. Focus on the mission. Stop listening to Patriot Mythology people and Q-tards. All right, this one here. This is drop 1264. And I'm telling you the drops because the way I had to crop it, it's cutting off and some of these are too long too. It cuts off the drop at the top. This is drop 1264. Trust the plan. This is one of them. Be prepared. Why would you have to be prepared if the plan was just somebody else doing it for you? Be prepared for what? Be prepared. Trust the plan. We are in full control. Who's we? We the people. If you read through all the Q drops, they're telling you who we is. We the people, right? Okay. Now that's a very minor one. I just wanted to point that one out. Check this one out. What does this one say? Drop 1183. Rise of the people. Question mark. Not understood? Not understood? What's WW? World War? Are you not going to understand until we hit World War? Is there not going to be a rise of the people or the power shift or the unity? Think logically. Right here. Think logically. Apply leverage strategically. They're asking you to take action.
Yeah,
how many times
somebody else? They're not saying somebody else is doing it. They're saying we need to do it right now.
Okay. All right. Next drop. This one is drop 1146. And if I get out of order, I apologize, but you can find them if you just type in the things that are said with it. Because I got to look at a list down here and then on because I don't have it on the screen. Drop 1146. We have everything. Cool. But what does that mean? How can we use what we know? They're asking us the question. Mm-hmm. Q is saying, how can we use what we know? Next line. How do you legally inject or make public use as evidence? Q is saying, our hands are tied. Are you not seeing what they're telling you? They're like, we got everything, but they've got this whole thing so twisted. And they've got so much of a grapple hold on the public. And Q's like, how are we going to do this? Somebody help a brother out, right?
Yep.
Okay. What are you witnessing unfold? What are you witnessing unfold? They're asking you. They're not saying that we're coming to save the day. If they were just coming to save the day, by the way, there would be no Q drops. They just do it and they would show you after it was done. Right? Am I right? Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Trust the plan. Right? Okay. Learn, connect, Skype. Okay. Okay. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything there on that one. Next one. This is drop 777. Drop 777. Oh, I'm sorry. That was 1146 right there. Not the I got out of order with these. Okay, I did these out. I'm sorry. The first one was 4964. Let's do that again. I got out of order. This one is 4964. This one is 1425. This one is 1264. This one is 1183, and this one is 1146. Now, this one didn't get cropped out. It says 1146 up there. Expand your thinking. The date versus actual. Trust the plan. Now, here's where I'm going to get a little bit deep on you. I want to show you something. Lewis, how many times have you seen or heard people quoting Q drops that say it's going to be biblical? Or even Trump saying it's going to be biblical, right? How many times? A lot.
Oh, a lot of them, ton of them.
Does that mean if we're going to use numerology like we do with the Bible? My Bible's stuck. Like we do with the Bible? If it's going to be biblical and we're going to use numerology, what kind of numerology do you think we should use? Do you think we should use gematria, or maybe we should use the numerology that the Bible uses, which is actually the oldest numerology, Chaldean numerology, right? So you see all these Patriot Mythology people and Q-tar people using gematria. That's part of the PSYOP, by the way, using the gematria. Guess who uses gematria? The Zionists. Mm-hmm. So you're being led astray by, use gematria with these drops. Q's not using gematria. They're using Chaldean numerology. Expand your thinking. Now, look, They put this in all caps down here, showers. It says April showers, and then it says showers in all caps and in kill brackets, right? That's telling you need to take that word and go find the numerology of it. Chaldean numerology, biblical numerology, not Gematria, biblical numerology. So here's what I did. I typed in showers for drop 1146, typed in showers into what I use for my biblical studies, the Chaldean numerology calculator. Guess what it came up with? The number 28. What's the number 28? The trusting lamb. This is a warning.
Mm-hmm.
This is a warning. What does it say? 28 is the number of puzzling and frustrating contradictions. Wow, what do you know? All of a sudden this lines up, right? The Gematria stuff don't make no sense. The numerology, and suddenly it makes sense.
Well, you know what's interesting also is when you do the numerology that you're talking about, it gives you one response, not 500 to choose from.
Correct. It's very clear and concise. It goes on to say number 28 symbolizes a person or entity of fine promise, even genius, and great possibilities with the capability. That's a possibility. You have the capacity or the capability of achieving impressive success, not a guarantee. The capability of achieving impressive success, and the 28 person frequently does realize such success only to see everything taken away unless he or she has carefully provided for the future. Future proves past. Future proves past. It indicates loss through misplaced trust in others. Hello, be aware of false prophets, Patriot mythology people, airplane screenshot people, Q-tard people. Powerful opposition from enemies and competitors in business or career, danger of serious losses in courts of law, and the possibility of having to begin the life path over and over again. We're repeating the same things over and over again. We keep losing in courts of law. One of the main things Q talks about, and I'm going to show you in some of these drops, is what's going on in the courts of law, the FBI, the DOJ, all this stuff. If 28 is and they just text you about, the birth number and all this stuff, because it gets into numerology for your name and stuff like that in this calculator that I use. All right, here's another thing I did. I took the number 1146 because this is drop 1146. I put that number also into the numerology calculator. What does it come out with? One will periodically be sacrificed for the plans or intrigues of others. The 12 warns of the necessity to be alert to every situation, to beware of false flattery. False prophets use false flattery from those who use it to gain their own ends. Wow. Wouldn't you know? It's been there the whole time.
Yep, and it coincides with your previous one about the lamb. Isn't that interesting?
Correct. And then it says, be suspicious of those who offer a high position and carefully analyze the motive. We're going to analyze motives when we start naming names, because I can just tell you right now, we're going to get there. Election day, November is going to come and go. We're going to have to start calling people out. Hopefully this works. Hopefully this scares enough people into getting their shit together and stop ripping people off and using it for their own personal gain. Although duplicity is not always present, forewarned is forearmed. There is a degree of mental anxiety caused by the need to sacrifice personal goals to the ambition of others. You're sacrificing your own freedom for the ambition of others, those who you're following and giving all your time and energy to. These false prophets online. A secondary meaning of this number should be considered. The figure 1 is the teacher, whether it be a person or life itself. The figure 2 is the kneeling, submissive student. Sometimes the result of severe emotional stress and mental anguish creates amnesia, forgetfulness of lessons previously learned. 12 represents the educational process on all levels, the submission of the will required, and the sacrifices necessary to achieve knowledge and wisdom on both the spiritual and the intellectual levels. When the intellect is sacrificed to the feelings, the mind will be illuminated with the answers it seeks. Look within for the solution. Attention paid to the requirements of education will end suffering and bring success. Q keeps saying, think logically, think logically, Think
Mhm.
logically. The Bible, God says, come, let us reason together. Think logically. It's going to be biblical. Watch out for false prophets.
So interesting you would say that. So many people know that I decided to go to the border and look for myself, right?
Yeah,
Because I always have to put in the work. What they don't know is one of my main motivations was the patriot mythology people that were saying nothing's happening at the border.
right.
And I said, that doesn't make any sense, right? So what do? I get down there and get down there myself and check it out. And there's over 200 people that we were talking to that were on our side of the border walking
Yeah.
across the border to try to intimidate us, talking to Border Patrol that were very frustrated. So, but what was the motivation is because the Patriot mythology people were saying, and I've never told this to many people, they were saying, nothing's happening down here. It's all a myth. Just trust the plan. And I'm like, my gut says that's wrong. So I said, okay, let me go down and check it myself on our own dollar. We didn't ask for any money. We went down there, checked it out. Sure enough, the border issue is a real deal. So we have to be vested in this process, not us as podcasters. Everybody listening to this has to figure out a way to be vested. Every one of you can make a difference, whether it's a prayer vigil, whether it's forming a manifestation group, whether it's going into a school board or your city council, whether it's hitting out flyers, whether it's spending 2 hours a day forwarding real information, the hard hitting information,
Like
not the
this
paper.
show.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Not the Patriot mythology information. All of that can make a difference. And I really believe if 1/10 of 1% of people stand up, 1 out of 1,000, that's too much for the cabal to handle, and they're done.
And that's not
I've
even hard. It's
I've
not
done
even
the
that
math.
many people.
Well, yeah, I've done the math. So that would equate. Let's say there's a school that that they have this pornographic material in their libraries, right? Or they're doing trans reading hour. The city only has 50,000 people. 1 out of 10, 1 out of 1,000 would mean 50 people show up at a school board with the exact same message. We've seen this time and time again. That porn is out of there. That trans reading hour is gone. It's that simple.
Yep.
1 out of 1,000 have to stand up, and that's why the app is out now. The app that gets everybody together, but it sucks. I'm going to be honest with you. So I'm doing some more work on it this weekend again.
Are we going to have it for Apple?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
And it's gonna be awesome. Even if I have to commission another company just to finish to tweak it, it's gonna be awesome. I did some work on it a couple of days ago just on the computer, but now I'm gonna dive in deep on it. Very, very excited about where this is going. But that again will help gather us together, guys. We just want to finish this. I got to be honest, Ethan. I love We the People, but I just want to go snorkel.
Me too.
I just want.
I
I
had a
just
hell
want
of
to
a
go.
time on the Truth Tour in Hawaii. That was the best time we had because it's like we talked about the stuff we always talk about, but we got to spend most of our time doing what we're supposed to do as a free people.
Yep. So that's it. I just want to go chill, spend time with my wife and my kids, snorkel, travel. I don't feel like I can do everything that I really want to do because I have an obligation for the people,
Yeah,
and I have to step up because how can I do it if I don't lead by example? That would be
correct.
crazy.
Well, and that's why I do it as well. Okay, so the next drop, what were we on? We were on 1146, right? So yeah, okay. So that's the real numerology on it, not the fake Jumatria, the Zionist Pied Piper numerology. The real original the real original numerology that Q and the Bible uses, because Q said it's going to be biblical. Q is absolutely using biblical numerology. And I think you just saw the example. There's another drop. I showed somebody that before. It's like it coincides perfectly with, because, by the way, and I'm going to show you this in a second, because look, this is, what is 1146? That's 1 plus 1 is 2. It was
That's
12.
12.
Okay. All right. I'm going to show you this in a minute, but I've got this sitting here for a reason. This is basically what Q is. The Chaldean numerology, this is one of the tarot cards. This is the 9th tarot card, the Hermit. 9 in Chaldean numerology, which is also biblical numerology, is human consciousness. And the hermit is the old white bearded sage, right? Like Gandalf or Dumbledore, if you want to compare it to stories, right? He doesn't actually come in and save you. He's like Rafiki. And I'm gonna show you guys that at some point because you'll be blown away. I want to show a replay. We'll do it on the next one of what Rafiki does with Simba, the lion. You know, and Trump's often equated with the lion, right? Christ is equated with the Lion of Judah. But Rafiki is that symbol of the hermit. This is, again, we're going back to Chaldean numerology. That's all we're looking at. You're looking at the wise old sage that is trying to bring out the success in you. That's all Q is doing. Q is trying to bring out the self-governance and the sovereignty in you. Just like Rafiki did with Simba the lion. Just like Gandalf did with Frodo and Bilbo. Just like Dumbledore did with Harry Potter. It's telling you the same story. It's all, and so Q has been using this from the beginning. So anyone who's been using gematria with Q is completely lost because Q isn't touching gematria. The Zionists are using that against you to mislead you. Real original numerology is Chaldean, and the tarot deck is based on Chaldean numerology. The word tarot is the same as the word Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. The tarot deck is based on the Hebrew alphabet, 22 letters. It's all there. Make no mistake. I wouldn't put this out there. I wouldn't spend the time and the research that I've done talking about it and writing books about it if it weren't true. The people that are talking about gematria and all this other stuff, they're not doing research. They're just grabbing gematria calculators and just plugging it into random shit and seeing what flies out.
Well, in respect to that, there's I like to get some audience interaction here. And so El Sunray 8 said, I know people that use gematria to show Trump as Antichrist. Also know people that use it to show Trump as a savior.
Correct.
That's what we've been trying to tell people. And then this is a question that comes up all the time, and I'll respond to this, and I want to let you respond to it. Don't you? So here's the good news, bad news. I have a little bit of information on this because I did talk to somebody who's in my backyard that I truly believe, I know he's special forces. I truly believe he was part of clearing some tunnels under Hollywood based on my conversation. I believe that to be true. That being said, I'm more connected there and more people. And I got to say, I have no evidence that that's still going on. So when we hear these things from people, where do they get that that's really happening? Now, I will say, I believe that this whole deal for what you guys call the white hats is a lot harder than they ever would have suspected.
Yeah. Well, and we're making it harder.
That's what I was just going to go. And I said, what makes it double or triple as hard is that we are just sitting on our asses waiting for things to happen when there's so much we can do. And guys, the micro fix is a macro. So I'm not suggesting anybody does anything massive. Just do something small and just get involved without fear. And I know many people watching this are doing this, but if you can motivate somebody else to do that, that'd be very important as well.
Yeah,
but
and I agree with all that.
Yeah, I just like to get the audience involved sometimes.
But back to that point about, Q being the wise old sage. The number 9, again, on the tarot card, it's the 9th card of the tarot deck, the major arcana. Notice he's got the staff of truth and the light of wisdom and truth, right? He's lighting the way. He's not going to force you to go there. He's not going to take you there. But he's trying to bring it out of you. He's hoping that you'll win. He's rooting you on. Look at what Q says here in this drop. What drop is this? We were on, I think this is drop 777, right? Because we just came off of 1146. I'm looking at my list. Yeah, okay. Drop 777. We can guide you, but you must organically uncover the truth. Q is the wise old sage. Q, the plan was never to come save you. It was to bring the hero out in you. That's all it's ever been. They are watching. Archive everything offline. You have to do stuff offline. You can't just, they're not just saying, the Bible was written in hidden symbolism and encoded. It's for those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. The truth seekers that really want to know the truth, not those who want to follow pastors that teach them religion and bullshit and keep them in bondage and lead them down a path that never leads to anything, ever. And again, it's the same thing that's happening with this Q movement. You got the Q-tard pastors. So that's a great way. That's a great name for them because it's a cult, right? They've taken this, just like they took the Bible and they twisted it way out of context and made it say, or told people it said stuff it never said, and they created religions out of it. They're doing this with Q. Q is not here to save you. Q is here to light the path, like the hermit, the wise old sage. There's stuff you have to do offline. This is very encoded in a lot of ways, but not as encoded as you think, because it can't be too difficult to figure out or you won't figure it out. But there's a reason this is drop 777. That's the ultimate jubilee. 777. We can guide you, but you must organically uncover the truth. They're not here to save you. They're here to guide you, right? What's the next drop? This is the same thing through drop 778 and 779. The next two drops after that. Another one, trust the plan. They put in question mark, control? True control? Do we have true control? Who can you trust? The world is not how you view it. But trust the plan. What's the plan? We the people. It says we are winning. Arrests will come. Logic. Here we go with the logic again. Logic should answer why it must. Follow other unfolding events. Learn and spread. Build proofs. You have to do stuff. We've provided many proofs that cannot be disputed as coincidence. This was done for a reason. More will be provided. Direct confirmation will come. It cannot come now. It will be lost. The message is not ready. Why? Because the people aren't ready. You are part of the army. We are depending on you. Should we read that part again for the kids in the back? You are part of the army. The biggest part of the army, by the way. We are depending on you. Does that sound like somebody that's in full control? Go back up at the top. What did they say at the top here? Control? True control? Trust the plan, the real plan.
So interesting enough, and keep it on that page because this is pretty cool. A couple of things. Number one, do you ever see these Q-tard people, the Patriot mythology people, showing you this section, which always gives accountability to the people? No. And why is that? Because they're not going to get the likes, they're not going to get the follows, they're not going to get the money from doing that. But here's what's just hit me like a ton of bricks. There's a correlation between, and hear me out, between the meek shall inherit the earth and trust the plan. It's an identical correlation. It has a meaning. The meek shall inherit the earth is identical to trust the plan in two ways. One is it's telling we the people need to do the work. The number one, it's been manipulated outside of the context of the written word for us to believe we just need to sit back and do nothing and everything's taken care of for us. Isn't that interesting? Those are virtually the same line, and that's biblical.
100%. Now, this was repeated. Let's see here. This goes to drop 764. Okay, yeah. So that was repeated from drop 778 and 779. There's two response. It's the same response to two different things. You can go look at it yourself. We're not going to dwell on that. Look at drop 764. Another one that says trust the plan. You are missing the connections. Missing the connections. This is on February 15th, 2018. This is quite a while after Q started the drops. People started going off the rails with this stuff from the beginning. Just like the disciples did with Jesus' teachings. They went off the rails with it from the beginning. That's why Christ had to intervene and meet Paul, the Apostle Paul, whose name was Saul at the time. God changed his name to Paul afterwards, because there's always a transformation. There's always a changing. Abram's name was changed to Abraham. Sarai's name was changed to Sarah. Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Saul's name was changed to Paul, and on and on and on. It happens. It's spiritually symbolizes the shift, the change from the awakening, right? But this has always been a pattern in all these Q movements. The people don't get it. Even after the wise old sage comes in and gives them all the information, they still don't get it. They miss the connection. So Christ had to come, bring in a Paul to correct things. And so now I believe God is sending people like you and me and a few others, there's not many of us, to come in and correct the record because people are missing the connections. It says continue to build the map. Oh, there it is. What map? It's what I'm calling the universal Q map. It's the repeating blueprint pattern, universal blueprint pattern of all freedom movements. Again, I talk about this in my book, The Jesus Q Connection. Map provides the key. Key spreads the truth. Truth shines light. Truth shines light. Again, wise old sage shining the light. Not your savior, not coming to wipe your ass. Light saves humanity. Future proves past.
Sorry, as I suspected, people are asking, why are you showing a tarot card? You know, that's triggering for some people. So maybe you could explain why.
Again, Chaldean numerology is based on the same thing that the Bible is based on. That's why it's biblical numerology. The Hebrew alphabet, which is the tarot or the Torah, the tarot. There's 22 major arcana. There's 22 letters in the Hebrew alphabet. It's all related. Fortune tellers picked this stuff up later and they bastardized it. The other side always hijacks everything God creates and twists it into a counterfeit.
That's
because they want you to think the original stuff is evil. The devil can't have you grabbing a hold of the original, the OG stuff that actually works, the simple stuff, the truth, and they twist it, they make a counterfeit, and then they make you miss the whole thing. Again, you're missing connections right here. You're missing connections. All right, what's the next drop? 1822. It's also in drop 668. Trust the plan. They're a lot more good than bad. Okay, we can agree with that. You, the people, need to remember how to play. Oh, here we go again with telling us that we, the people, need to do this. You, the people, have the power. And then they say, we strike every day, we win every day. But what about us? What about we, the people? You guys need to remember how to play. You guys need to remember that you have the power. You are the most important part of this army. We need you to finish what we started. Not hard. People make it hard, right? And there's how much longer you want to go? We've been going an hour and a half. Do you want to wrap it up here soon?
I think we should wrap it up soon, and then off air, I have an idea that you and I could work on that will help with
Okay,
this.
yeah, you can stick around with me when we close this thing down, but and this might actually be a good point to come to a close because those two drops right there, drop 1822 and drop 668, they're really long ones, and that's why I pulled up the actual on the website instead of my screenshots off of my phone. And again, I did that to make it bigger so it's easier to see, but I want to dig into those two drops a little bit. And I only have, 2 or 3 more drops after this to go over. And then, so on the next one, we'll do that. I'll dig a little bit more into this because people were asking about it, why I'm pulling this up and talking about it. It'll make more sense on the next one. Again, this is all, it's too much information to cover in one sitting. Even if we went for 3 hours today, we still wouldn't get through it. That's why it has to be a mini series. But I want to go through all these drops, and they're long. These two ones in particular, 1822 and 668. But I'm telling you, just like Q said, was it this one? No, it's actually in one of the last ones. I guess I could probably show it before we go there. There it is. This one, yeah, that's one of the last ones I'm going to show. Drop 2604, I think, or 1318. Everyone has an opinion. Few have the facts. Few know the plan. But before we get to that, we'll save this one for the next one because this is a lot of stuff to unwrap right here. But hopefully you're starting to see how all the stuff that's been spun out there for years and years and years and years and years that we're calling patriot mythology and Q-tard stuff, it's become a cult, it's become a religion, it's become a bastardized standardized version of what Q actually is. And it's the same thing that they did with the Bible. And Q said this was going to happen. It's going to be biblical. What they do with the Bible? They hijacked it. They bastardized it. They twisted it out of context. They mistranslated it. They misinterpreted it. And they created thousands upon thousands of bullshit religions to keep you sidetracked from the truth. They're doing it with Q. They've been doing it. So it's time for a reckoning. It's time for the wake-up call on all this. And that's what this is. But we'll save this one for next time.
Love it. I'm excited to do part 2 and tell you what I have off air that we can create really quick that'll really make this concise for people.
Oh, by the way, guys, I want to mention real quick, Lewis got his in today too. Neumi will send these things out to certain leaders in the company. Neumi is, I don't have a lot of information about it, but this is going to help everyone a lot. They've come out with, this is the sample bottle, not for resale. It's coming out next month. Neumi's been working on a nootropic that will replace energy drinks, 5-hour energy, all that stuff, toxic stuff. And we all need it. You can replace your coffee with it. It's all organic. It's all based on botanicals, just like the Herms. I've actually already tried it. Lewis has tried it. In fact, you did it right before you went on the show. How you feeling?
Yeah, I have a story about it, and this is no shit. So all day long, I've been feeling way under the weather today. In fact, my wife and I were just talking about it. She's feeling under the weather, and it's like, wow. We're like, we don't know. Are we being attacked spiritually? Didn't have a clue what was going on. I took a whole bunch of caffeine. I won't even tell you what the product was because I'm like, I have to get some work done. I caffeinated, and I got virtually no response from it. And then you and I were talking about this, and I said, yeah, let me try this right now for the first time. And I don't know, maybe the audience could say, I feel like I've been on fire. Like things are just like this. And I'm really shocked, to be honest with you. And I'm only assuming it's that. I don't like to give a false declaration of something. I can just say that, wow. And my wife is a testimonial. I'm going to ask her because she's my worst critic and my best support, right? She'll tell me, yeah, you looked a lot better than you were later, or she'll say, no, you're still like shit. So we'll find out.
Well, I'm excited about it. It's going to be actually in a gold or yellow bottle. It's absolutely phenomenal. I tried it, I think, last year when they first introduced it. You and I were out there at the Neumi convention in Salt Lake, and they let us try it. We've been waiting a year on it. It's coming out next month. It's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to take a big chunk out of the cabal, soul-destroying, health-destroying energy drink market. So be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, make sure you're still taking advantage of our number one detox, the glutathione. And again, we have with Neumi, we have the best glutathione in the world because it's the only one that absorbs direct into the bloodstream, sublingually in the mouth. All the other ones, you swallow it, it gets destroyed in the stomach acid, so you don't even get it. And your only other option is to do the IV, the clinical IV, which is like $150 to $300 a pop. And it only lasts for a few hours. It's not even as effective as ours. All the white papers and scientific studies from third parties show that our swish is actually more effective than that. It is the master detoxer. It's the fountain of youth for the body. It's the most important element in the body, and it naturally depletes as we age. In fact, your age, Lewis, my age, Lewis, our bodies are already producing naturally half of what they used to when we were kids. That's why it's so important to take it. And I will tell you this, and I'm not making any medical claims because I can't. It's not meant to treat, prevent, cure, or mitigate any disease. I don't deal in the medical realm anyway. I'm a naturopath. I deal in reality. I don't deal in witchcraft, pharmakeia bullshit. This stuff is going to be vitally important for the next donkey flu. That's what I'm going to call it. They're calling it the bird flu. I'm calling it the donkey flu because the Democrats are behind a lot of it. So it's the donkey flu. It ain't the bird flu. But they're cooking up a new pandemic, and whether it's real or not, I ain't taking a chance on it. I'm stocking up on this because, again, it's the master antioxidant in the body. It's the most important critical aspect of your immune system. If you don't have it, if a cell doesn't have glutathione, so it's super important. Get it. Make sure you're stocked up on it because we're entering into uncharted territory here. Things are gonna get crazy. And again, it's all because I firmly believe we brought this on ourselves. There wasn't enough people willing to stand up. All they wanted to do was follow Pied Piper, Q-Tard, and Patriot Mythology people because it sounded good. It's like, oh, we ain't got to do nothing. This is awesome. Someone's coming to save us. Well, if it sounds too good to be true, what's the old saying, Lewis? Probably
it is. Yep.
But Neumi's not too good to be true. Take advantage of it. I got the link up there on screen. Lewis probably has it in his comment section there, so you can go check it out. There is a 30-day guarantee on it too. If you guys don't like it, you can just send it back, get your money back. But I personally am not aware of anybody who's ever sent it back. Didn't work for them. All I've gotten is great testimony. In fact, I use it in my naturopathic practice. It's the main supplement I use for everything. It's absolutely phenomenal. Anyway, anything else you want to go over before we roll this thing out?
We're good. I think I really love the direction we went, and I can't wait for part 2.
It's going to be good. So, yeah, go ahead and you want to hang out with me here after we close this thing down to talk about a few things?
Yeah, I got about 5-10 minutes, but we can.
Yeah, and I've actually got to get on my show too after this, so I can talk to you for a few minutes, and then I got to bounce. All right, guys, you've been watching myself and Lewis Herms on both my show and Lewis Herms' show. Check out the Neumi, get the links, get the stuff in you, stock up on it because stuff's about to get crazy, and stay tuned for the next one that we're about to do, part 2 of this. All right, guys, we'll catch you later.